Thank you, Dean Guthrie, for asking me to be here today. I was enormously proud to accept this invitation. Apprehensive, but proud. You see, I've delivered many speeches in my life, but I've never done a commencement address. And with all the anxiety only a type A personality, a perfectionist at heart can have, I thought, my goodness, what can I possibly say to the class of 2012 that they hadn't already heard from their parents, their professors, and their friends? To add to the anxiety, I tried desperately to remember a single commencement address, either mine or my two daughters, that really stuck with me. No such luck. I read some great commencement addresses, but didn't hear my voice in any of them. So in the end, I decided to speak to you in my own voice, which is not good at platitudes, about things that I've observed or wished I had known earlier in my career. In other words, some practical, everyday things I hope will help you. Unlike you, the class of 2012, I have no business degree. My undergraduate studies were in social sciences from the University of Michigan. Since women of my generation were thought to be suited only to nursing or teaching school, and since I couldn't stand the sight of blood, I chose to be a teacher. Teaching, as it turns out, was not the culmination of my hopes and dreams. Moreover, there were no teaching jobs available in 1970. So I moved to Washington, D.C., thinking maybe I could do something in politics. That didn't work out either. I didn't have the right connections. Enter George Washington University. It was mostly known then for being a night school, an expensive night school. I literally walked into the dean's office, transcript in hand, and begged for a spot in the upcoming semester, which was a mere 2 weeks away. He accepted me on the spot and asked that I follow up with the appropriate paperwork. Can you imagine that happening today at George Washington University? I graduated with a master's degree in education, well educated to be sure, but as it would turn out, for a career I wouldn't like. For me, teaching the Battle of Gettysburg to uninterested seventh graders was neither challenging nor rewarding. So I did what was expected of a woman of my generation. I married a wealthy man. And produced two near-perfect daughters. The former didn't end up so well either. So by 32 years old, I was alone. I had no money, I had no job, I had no career, no credit cards, two small children, and only hopes and dreams. My back was against the wall, and I'd lost the most important decade of my life, either by making poor choices or just having really bad luck. Finally, I found something I could relate to, and that was business. First at the accounting firm of KPMG, and then taking the lessons I had learned there as an entrepreneur. In my desire to catch up in the business world, I had to quickly learn things I knew nothing about. So, for what it's worth, here are 10 good, sound, practical pieces of advice I hope you benefit from. Number 1, I beg you, do not lie on your resume. I wrote this before the Yahoo situation. Professional search firms tell me that 70% of all applicants inflate their resume. So if you do not, you have already distinguished yourself. If you do inflate your resume, you will eventually get found out, and by age 40, you will have worked at 10 companies for 2 years each and basically be in a career death spiral. It's easier and more strategic just to learn the skills you need to get the job or the promotion that you want. Number 2, never mistake activity for results. It's nice to know that you tried really hard, but it's important for your career that your work is measurable and impactful. What you do has to matter. It doesn't just have to matter to you, it actually has to matter to your company as well. If you're not helping drive profits or a mission, you won't have a seat when the music stops. And in a languishing economy, the music stops often. Next, don't ignore the signs. In other words, learn to read the room. People will telegraph to you if you're on the right track or not. Learn to read their body language. It often speaks louder and more clearly than their words. Learn to trust someone's words by verifying them with their actions. Play detective. Number 4, when you come to a really tough decision, ask yourself what you would do if you took fear out of the equation. Fear is what holds talented people back. So I suggest you do something completely out of your comfort zone every day, sort of like what I'm doing right now. This will instruct you of how to deal with fear in a productive way. It'll help you control it and conquer it. Number 5, the less you know about an opportunity, the more attractive it is. My first business partner offered me 49% in a startup company. She said we would make $150,000 a year within 3 years. That was in 1985, and we did. What I didn't know was that by virtue of the language in the partnership agreement, she could fire me, which she did. I hadn't done my homework. I didn't know about her character. Inform your enthusiasm with good due diligence. Plant your dreams on solid ground. And remember, when you swim with the sharks, you can expect them to bite. It's not personal, it's just what sharks do. Number 6, culture matters, and every company has one. If you are cool and hip, you won't work out in a stodgy environment or a mature corporation. At the end of the interview for a new job, when the interviewer asks you if you have a question, please, I beg of you, don't ask for an explanation of the benefits package. I have never hired a single person who cared more about the benefits than about the opportunity. Instead, think about saying, yes, I do have a question. I'd love you to describe someone here who has really been successful and tell me how he or she did it. You'll learn a lot about the culture of the company in the answer, and it'll help you decide if you'll really fit in that environment. Next, in real estate, it's location, location, location. In business, it's relationships, relationships, relationships. Make and keep lots of them. Do a random act of kindness for somebody every day with no expectation of anything in return. It's amazing how far you can get by helping other people. Consider it an extension of GW's culture of service. Number 8, there are no shortcuts. You have to both succeed and fail to learn what you need to know to move your career forward. An important part of that process is learning how to recover from your failures. If you spend your efforts trying to avoid failures, you will never do anything meaningful or learn anything important. Failures are very often opportunities in disguise. So don't forget to look for the opportunity. I only have 2 more. Sales and negotiation skills are the lifeblood of your career. When I look at someone, I see a cylinder of emotion. That person could be more insecure than they would ever let me know, and often are. A sale is a transfer of emotion. You'll need to learn how to sell yourself to get noticed without being labeled a braggart or worse. You'll need sales skills to get people to listen to your good ideas. and you'll be negotiating from the first cup of coffee every morning until the end of your last phone call. Even if salesman is nowhere in your job description, learn how to sell. If you want to be successful, you have to learn how to get heard. Salesman is not a dirty word. And finally, be appreciative. Thank you. Those two words, thank you, are the most powerful words in our language. Let people know how much you appreciate their guidance, their good ideas, sound judgment, and time. Letting people know how much you appreciate them will pay big dividends for you. Forget to thank someone, they will never help you again. In the end, you'll need to master these skills if you're ambitious, because this is how the world of business really works. A career in business is about strategy. If you're intrigued by politics or sports or the study of war, which all require strategy, you'll be great at business. If your DNA doesn't allow your mind to think strategically, hit the eject button and find a better use of your talents. These days, I'm often amazed of how my career has evolved. I can't believe I'm standing in front of you as a trustee of George Washington University and a board member of important companies and institutions. My little entrepreneurial endeavor became a $250 million company. Along the way, I learned that the system isn't always fair, but it is consistent. There are universal truths that you're going to need to pay attention to. A fulfilling career will take enormous amounts of enthusiasm, sacrifice, and continued learning. But that's how you can make a difference, by solving problems, taking action, being courageous, strategic, relentless, and appreciative. Congratulations, class of 2012. I wish you much success, and I hope you find all the ways that you can be the very best that you can be. Thank you.